Welcome to Knit 2 Cultivate 2. This is primarily a fiber arts podcast, but I get up to all kinds of shenanigans as I homeschool my kids. Welcome. If this is your first time, thank you for joining and welcome. I hope you find something you enjoy. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. I have my coffee, I have sparkling water, I have a shawl and a pumpkin candle burning, and I am very happy to be here this week. All right, I don't have any announcements or any admin stuff, so we're just gonna go right into knitting. For finished objects, I finished and talked about the brioche shawl feathers by Anna Kai Lennon, which is about $6.31 US. I had finished this, but had not blocked it the last time I showed you guys. This is a 2-skein shawl. Let me show it to you first. I get too excited to talk about it. You can see feathers. I'm actually surprised on camera how, as long as there's a dark, it's not the light, how well you can see the feathers. The back reverse side, you can see the feathers a little better. They're opposite. But this is great. It blocked out a great bit. It has good drape. Don't get me wrong, I like the drape. It could be looser for me though. I like a little more drape with my brioche. Some people prefer more squishy, so a tighter gauge. But I like it. It'll work well as a cowl. And I might try to wear it kind of like Andrea Mowry does her asymmetrical shawls, which I love. She kind of off-centers them, if I can do this. Like this. With a jacket. And I like that a lot. But it'll even just work well like this, which we have been on the soccer fields nonstop and it's already miserable cold. So it might have just been a fluke. I think I'm just complaining about yesterday. But anyway, I could use it as like a balaclava. I could use it just wrapped around, kind of like a cowl. There are choices. I just prefer a bigger shawl. What I really just want is to carry blankets with me. So I like a 3 to 4 skein shawl, but sorry, that was the back. I'm very happy with it and it does drape well and blocked out well, but I should have gone up a needle size. Again, I was at gauge. I just know my preferences and I didn't have enough yarn because I altered how the beginning was. Up until here, I changed how the designer did it because I didn't like how my gauge was looking. But because I made that change, I ended up not being able to finish the pattern. So I had to cut it off before the end. I can't even remember what I did now that I'm saying that, but I did not finish the whole motif or the whole chart. So that ate up a lot more yarn than I anticipated. But I like it. It's done. I have not worn it yet. I need to pull out more winter stuff and see what it will go with. It's kind of a hard thing to match, right? I might have to design or buy something to wear with it, but I like it. It also may be a gift if I don't really find something I really want to wear it with. So we'll see. For my first work in progress, I have the Millie for Men by Regina Mosimer. It's about $7.08 US. I left off and I had 3 sleeve decreases before the cuff ribbing on the first sleeve. And now I only have 6 more decreases on the second sleeve. So I will definitely have this done next time. It's been slow going though because it's so big with a shawl collar, 1 sleeve, and a man's sweater. It's just huge. It literally is living next to my spot on the couch so that I can work on it and not move it. But it's going really well. I'll hold it up. It's really hard to see. I will take great pictures of this and have him pose outside, which he hasn't agreed to, but I think he'll be fine with. But I'm definitely making him do a fashion show. So it has a nice shawl collar. It's really big. And it's this navy oh, I really do love how that turned out. And again, I think I said this last time, guys, I hated this dye job. I put off casting on this sweater because I hated how it looked. It was so patchy, and I've gotten compliments at midnight because of how kettle dyed it looked. And I was like, oh, I'm very honest with people and tell them I didn't plan that, but I didn't plan that. But this is going really well. I really love knitting with this yarn. Again, I am so bummed it's out of stock, but it has been such an enjoyable knit. I did have him try it on after I bound off the cuff of the first sleeve. So he tried it on, everything fits well. It's longer than it's longer than I prefer on my husband's body, but he looks fine in it. It's just, I think style-wise, because he's a shorter torsoed guy, I would knit it shorter next time is really what I'm saying. But other than that, it's a great, nice, oversized sweater, and he's really excited to wear it. And it is getting cold, so it is time to start wearing sweaters. As always, I have a pair of Rose City rollers on my needles. I'm actually not going to cast on another pair after this. I'm going to do the springy rolls mitts that I talked about. So this will be the last pair for a few episodes at least. But this is a pattern by Mara Catherine Briner, and it's free. It is a pair of ankle socks with this cute jelly roll cuff. I am using Knit Picks Felici. This is the psychedelic rainbow. Yeah, I think psychedelic rainbow colorway. These are just the small size. I'm knitting the small size for my daughter, Stella. Last I left off, I think I was on the very beginning of the orange stripe. Well, I had a hole in my fabric down in the blue section. So I retroactively went in with a needle to pick up stitches so I could just rip it all out and start it again. This is just my vanilla knit, so if it's 2 extra stripes that I knit and have to re-knit, it's what goes with me. It doesn't feel very frustrating to have to rip out a sock. Also, this is the second time I've done that on this pair of socks that I have literally knit probably 30 times. I have probably knit 30 pairs of these socks by now, and I had to rip out twice. So there you go. New knitters, you're fine. All right. But now I knit back up from the blue, which was about the end of the heel decreases, and I am at the toe decreases. The blue stripes started those, so I just started those. This was the first sock, so I still have one more to do, and then after these needles are free, these are Chiagu size 1, US size 1. Once these needles are free, I'm gonna go ahead and start the mittens for my daughter. I talked about those a few episodes back in Plotting and Planning. But going well, I guess not, but they're going, so. The next thing I have, I'm really, really excited about. It's been in Plotting and Planning for, I think, 2 episodes, but this is the Piano Scarf by Deborah Kinsey Knits. It's about $5.89 US. And I have started the color work portion, and it looks like the start of a piano. So you start at the bottom of the keyboard, so it's 3 white, 1 black, all the way across with a little border. I am using, let's find it, Plymouth yarn, DK Merino Superwash, and I'm using a black and a white, pure white. So I'm really, really happy with this. I am modifying this pattern. So the pattern, I might be able to show you for people who might not know. The pattern has this nice pearl edge where you fold it and before you seam, and it's nice and sharp and it looks great. But in the original pattern, it would only have that detail on one side. The other edge would be your cast on edge. And I didn't love the idea that it would be different. So to circumvent this, instead of casting on at the bottom of the color work, knitting the black background, and then seaming at the bottom, I am starting halfway through the black on the back. So I would if I'm holding the scarf here, I would start right in the middle line, like the equator, for a lack of better word. And so I knit up half of the background, did the purl detail, knit the color work, and then I will knit the second half of the back and Kitchener them together so that it is seamless or looks seamless. And I did that. I had another cowl, and if I can find the pattern and remember what it was, I'll put it up. But I did this technique in another cowl and really, really liked it. So I kept that in my repertoire, and this is actually the first time I'm pulling it out. But I'm really happy with it. That fold looks really sharp. And I love how these stitches look. I doubt you'll be able to see, but I just think they look so nice and even. And it's totally this yarn. This yarn, it really sits well and fits together well. I think it is just so easy to knit with too. I've really been enjoying it. It was not a cheaper purchase. The yarn for the scarf was probably about $50. But this is a person that is very important to us. My son took piano with this very special individual for 6 years, maybe 5 or 6 years. But he, when we moved to Michigan, had to find a new piano teacher, so it was really hard. And so this is something I am making for him. But I like it so far. I was worried about the black floats coming through the white. Let me see if I can show you again. But I really don't think you can see it much. So I'm really excited with this. It's still portable enough that as long as I'm going somewhere like knit night, I can sit and knit 2 or 3 rows. But it has to be somewhere that I know I'll be sitting long enough to make it worth a row. I don't love stopping in the middle of a row. And I'm actually having a hard time keeping this on my needles because of how soft and silky the yarn is. I need some needle covers, and I know I've got some. I just have to find them. But going well, and I'm really excited. I should have more of that done this week. I will say though, it does have purling and color work. But you don't have to catch any floats while purling and color work. So I think if you're looking for a pattern to do purling and color work for the first time, I think this is a really great one because you'll never have to catch your floats. So it's kind of straightforward. Yeah. So we're jumping straight through some categories into homeschool and life stuff. This week has been slammed. It has just been a lot. Today even, I am just running from one thing to the next, and this was I had an hour that I could record, which is so nice, right? That I could do this in an hour. I kind of love having switched to this weekly recording schedule for quite a few reasons, but definitely because they're a little bit shorter stints. But yeah, I don't know how we're on week 4. And it's going great. We are going to change a few things that we distribute. We've been having a hard time getting all of our work done in a reasonable amount of time. Not because of distractions, not because my children aren't getting their work done, because we're doing too much in a week. So I was doing math and reading every day, Monday through Friday, and then alternating 2 days a week of science, and then 2 days a week of history, and then a day of electives. And then they also, my son does Spanish every day. They both do piano every day, and we do other stuff. But those are the main things. Anyway, things are going well, but we're gonna take math and reading off the roster for Fridays and see. And again, this is one of the reasons I like numbering my weeks, is because I can look at it quarterly. I can say, okay, we've gotten through the first 12 weeks, and this is what's working, this isn't. But I can also gauge how far we are through our curriculum, and that's helpful for me to understand, are we on task? Are we not? So I am changing a few things, and that's good. The other thing we're gonna try to do for next month that I've been planning this week is a Halloween bucket list for the month of October. I know I am an over planner. I'm an over planner because I have to be, because I am neurodivergent. I will not remember or know how much time has passed. And if I am not obsessive with note taking and my planning, we don't get to do all the fun stuff we want to do because I forgot or I didn't remember each step along the way. So I understand I'm excessive with this stuff, but it is a necessity and it's the only way I can function. But we are doing a Halloween bucket list type thing. So we have activities we want to do and when we'll do them. Another reason this is important is because the month of October is just bananas for us. It's the last month of soccer, so there's like 6 weeks of soccer. So it is the biggest chunk of soccer, and we're just slammed. So we have one activity a week that we can do. So that's when we do it. So I want to tell you some of the things that we're putting on our list. So the first thing is a pumpkin patch. Obviously, go pick our pumpkins out. There is a really cute pumpkin patch very, very close to us. I mean, I'm talking like 10 minutes from us. So we'll probably just go up there and they have, fun fall drinks and snacks and stuff to play on. And so that we'll go do that. And then obviously carve pumpkins, which we do every year, and make pumpkin seeds. We also we didn't get to do it last year, but we always go apple picking. So we're gonna go apple picking. And one of our labs for science was to make applesauce, and I have still not gotten on that. And it's not like I just keep buying extra bags of apples because we just keep putting it off and then eating the apples. They're not going bad, so I haven't felt guilty. But we'll make a big batch of applesauce when we go apple picking. That'll be part of the activity. It's to talk about prokaryotes and bacteria. It's an activity that if we didn't do it, my son got all the information for. It's not hugely in depth. But we're going to do that, and we're also going to make apple fritters, which have been on my list of things to make or to try making, both because I haven't made them before, but also in an air fryer. And while most air fryers are small, whoever bought the oven in my house bought a convection oven, and so I want to try using it to see if I could do like a big batch of apple fritters. So we'll see. A hayride or corn maze. We did a corn maze last year at, I think, Uncle John's cider mill. That might be what it's called. If it's not, I'll put it up. But it's a cider mill, which these are really common in Michigan. We didn't have any of those close by in Ohio, but we did have an apple picking place. But here, it's really hard to find an apple picking place, but really easy to find like a cider mill where you can buy apples, but you can't pick them. So that's been a little disappointing, and that was why we couldn't find a place last year that had it. I have found a place this year. Oktoberfest event was on there, and I thought that was a fabulous addition. Try a new pumpkin recipe. That's a good one. I can do pumpkin, and even I like savory pumpkin. I have a white bean pumpkin chili recipe with like ground turkey, and it is so good, and it's more stew-like because the pumpkin is in the sauce and it thickens it up, so it kind of reminds me of a stew. So good. So I like savory pumpkin too. Hang a spooky wreath. Done. I knit a Halloween wreath, and it will go up on the 1st of October. But I knit it last year and put it up, and I really love it. So already did that. Then read a thriller. I love thrillers. So that'll be an easy one. A murder mystery dinner party. All right. We're not going to have a dinner party, but last year for Christmas, I got a murder mystery, like a puzzle. I don't know what I would call a game. And you can only do it once, but it's basically murder mystery party in a box. And we've actually been to a murder mystery. I am not kidding you. My husband and I won the event. And when I say my husband and I, it was basically My husband doesn't drink, and we had drink tickets. So I got his drink tickets. And so it was just me sitting there drinking beer and yelling at him, not yelling, but telling him, this is what's going on. He's like, I have no idea if any of this is right. And I am just telling him, nope, this is what's happened. I am into true crime. And I kid you not, because he put his name on the paper, he won the whole thing and had to go up front. He had to go up front and like get all this stuff. Anyway, when we went there, it was very similar to what's inside this box. And that is just like a bunch of documents and the clues and stuff like that. And you go through and talk through it. And I'm sure there's more to it than what I'm saying. But we can do that. And so my husband and I should do that. I think I was saving it to do with my sister. I think, honestly, this is how I think this went down. I think my husband said, do you want to do this? And I said, ooh, I think I was going to do that with Kelsey. And he goes, oh, what? I was like, oh, sorry. A fall hike, that's a good one. Yeah, and a scenic drive was one of them. There is this tunnel of trees that we didn't check out last year that I hear is fabulous. Also, I got an ad that had people looking at trees from a ski lift. So I'm gonna Google that and see if I can find out what that is, because that would be fun. We went to Snowshoe one summer, and they have like summer stuff, and stayed in a condo with our family. And so to get to the lake where you could swim, you had to go up and down the ski lift. And so that was fun. And I think it would be fabulous. That would be a great way to see fall leaves. So I'm going to look that up. Watch Halloween movies. I cannot handle the fact that we are getting Hocus Pocus 2 this year. I am so excited. And my kids, well, Eli likes that movie. I don't know, Stella doesn't really pay attention to much of movies, but Eli's excited too. I am so excited. So we're going to have a viewing party with popcorn and such. We also always watch all of the Halloween Town movies in addition to Hocus Pocus every year. And sometimes we do all the Harry Potter movies as well, because those count as a Halloween and Christmas movie in our house. There's one scene that's Christmas, and I'm always like, oh guys, it's Christmas. It's time for Harry Potter. Time for Harry Potter. Okay. Oh, the last thing that we're going to do are ghost rockets, and I'll put a picture up here. I just saw this on Pinterest, and I was trying to find activities that, I mean, most of the stuff that you find on like the blogs are kid activities, and they're not as much geared towards older kids. So I had a harder time finding things Halloween related that my kids would care about. But these ghost rockets look super cool. And so we'll do those. Knit your own scarf or sweater. Seems a little advanced, but done. Like I can sign up for that. So, yeah, I will be knitting all October. The last thing we did was we got to see the Sunny Wilkerson Quartet last night at SVSU. It's part of a music series. It's free. That's where my husband teaches. He's in the music department, so he, knew this was coming. But we went and took the kids. She is a jazz vocalist, and yeah, fabulous. We really loved it. Yeah, that was fun. But other than that, I just feel so slammed, and I am ready for a little bit of a break this week. It's not much, but we'll have a tiny bit more of downtime, I think. Okay, I had to take a break and go grab a child from their event. So if my camera angle is all different, it probably is. All right, and lastly, on our home life, whatever this is, our homeschool and life section, we went to see the Sunny Wilkerson Quartet with my husband, and she is a jazz vocalist, and she was playing with her husband and two other musicians. There was bass, drums, and piano, and they were phenomenal. Maybe that's what a quartet always is, I don't know. I studied math. My husband would probably be rolling his eyes at me right now. But that's what was on stage. So we took the kids to that, and that was really fun. This is I think it was Rhea Miller, they said. It's the Rhea Miller series. So a concert series that they put on. It is free. That's the department my husband teaches in, so he just knew that it was happening and was going to go himself, so we decided to tag along, and it was really fun. Yeah, I checked them out. I was very impressed, and we got to have some really cool conversations, and Eli had a really good time. Her husband was the pianist, and he had a really good time talking to the pianist, and I always love when people engage my children. My kids have really cool things to say sometimes, and Eli has been playing piano for a long time and had questions, and this guy engaged with him and spent time talking to him. I mean, now I know he's standing next to my husband, who the guy knew, but still, it was very kind, and that always warms my heart when people take the time to include the kids in my life. For books and personal learning, it's gonna be real short. I am almost done with the Once and Future Witches, which is so good. I kind of was back and forth, which really turned me off and slowed me down. I had the audiobook, was listening to it fast and furiously, and it was going so well. But then it expired, I think, because I didn't start reading it when I got it. And then I had the physical book because that was on a hold. But that slowed me down, and I don't know, I don't read as many physical books as I do listen. And so I finally got that back, and I'll finish that this week. And then my son and I started listening to the Percy Jackson series. We're just on the first one. He has already read this series and loves all of the Riordan Greek god storylines. There are multiple book series in this world, and he loves that. So he's already read the whole series, but there is a new Percy Jackson TV show coming out, and there are old movies. There are 2 of them. But apparently, according to my son, Rick Riordan did not like the movies because they did not really stick to the book as well as he would have liked. Again, this was my 11-year-old. I don't know the accuracy of this, but he's excited about the TV show, and so I told him I would listen to them. So we started a puzzle, and I've been trying to get him, he also has ADHD, and I think it would be very beneficial for him to have something to do with his hands to help him listen or to do. But he is dead set that he could not. I mean, I'm talking years. I've been trying to get him to do this now, but he has been dead set on, I can't do 2 things at once. So my idea was, how about we do a puzzle, but we listen to a book on tape? Mom, I can't do 2 things at once. Okay, but it's a book series you've already read, so it won't matter if you lose your place. Totally bought it. Not bought it, I wasn't trying to coerce him, but I was trying to give a way that maybe it would be more palatable or something that he felt like he could handle. And so he started doing that, which I'm really, really happy he's trying it, because I do think that would be beneficial for him. I am not assuming something that's beneficial to me will be beneficial to my child. However, he struggles with very similar things, and this is a very common thing to do. It's all across elementary schools in the country where we have fidget toys and wobble seats now. So, we all have kind of realized that as adults at this point. So those are the 2 books I'm reading. I do have a few shows that I'm watching. I am rewatching, so I'm on season 2 now, but of The Handmaid's Tale, when I am at least 2 seasons behind. So I have at least 2 new seasons to watch, but possibly 3. I think it's only 2 though. But I am rewatching that. It's just so hard to watch, and it's a lot harder to watch now than it was when it originally came out. I watched it when it came out and aired. I watched it. My neighbor and I sat on our couch and we watched it together for the first 2 or 3 seasons. I can't remember. But yeah, so I'm watching that, and I of course love it as much as I did the first time, and cannot stop. I don't stop seeing ads for the new season, which they're so vague that, and I also read is it The Testaments by Margaret Atwood? But they're so vague that you really can't, it's not a spoiler, especially because I read The Testaments. Like, the stuff in the ad, I already know. Like, I already know this happened. So even though I didn't get to that part, I knew it was going to. I highly recommend, if anybody's going to do this, I am always team read the book first. Absolutely read the book first. But so I would always suggest read The Handmaid's Tale, watch the first 2 or 3 seasons of The Handmaid's Tale, and then read the Testaments, because the Testaments was heavily written off of the stuff that happens in the TV show, or at least the character development in the TV show. And none of that stuff is in the first book. So that is the order I would personally suggest watching it in, because I think, yeah, I would not have enjoyed the Testaments nearly as much if I had already not made connections with the characters. I really had those connections to those characters in the storyline already from some of the heart-wrenching scenes in season 2. Okay. Also watching The Patient on Hulu, which is fabulous. It is Steve Carell. He is a therapist, and he is kidnapped for his services, and it is amazing. The casting is amazing, but so far I love it. This is just one I'm watching by myself. My husband and I just finished Only Murders in the Building, and then started this week The Rings of Power. So we're starting the new Lord of the Rings series, and so far we really, really love it. Yeah, we have like one night every week that we're both in the same place and have downtime. So we will not get through it fast. But so far, so good. We really, really like it. And yeah, that's all I've got. It has been so busy. I have not been reading. I have not been watching TV. Yeah, honestly, a lot of my down knitting time has been on my front porch with nothing going. A lot of the times I will have a podcast going or a book on tape, but lately I've just been wanting complete silence. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next time.